It's a normal thing, right? For an adult person like myself to be drinking sugar-free Red Bull out of a Chipette's glass. Really living on the edge. Hey, it's Jay. Welcome to Sludge Central. There's a lot to talk about tonight. First things first, Stranger Things, The First Shadow. I attended The First Shadow, and it was the first show of previews. It was over in England. Now it's on Broadway. So it was the actual first performance on Broadway. You know, who doesn't love a little razzle dazzle every now and then? And you can't beat the lullaby of Broadway. And the producer came out in the beginning, and he was just all psyched up. The crowd's going wild. It really was something else. For those of you who don't know, I mean, I didn't know. It's really a prequel to Stranger Things, and it tells the origin story of Vecna, which I had no clue. I had no expectations. I didn't read up on it to see what the plot was. I just said, whoa, it's a Stranger Things play. I need to be there just because I like to do all things Stranger Things. I like my things stranger. What can I say? So let's get into it. Believe it or not, coming from Jersey into New York City, it's a total bitch. Even if you're from here, you're going to get a ton of people saying, oh, no, it's real easy. You just take the PATH train, blah, blah, blah. It's just never easy to me. When you're from Jersey and you're driving everywhere, there's nothing simpler than hopping in your own vehicle and doing what you need to do and coming back at your own time, at your own speed, and not having to sit with other people. You just do your own thing, listen to your own music. So it's never easy to get yourself over there. It's kind of a pain in the ass. And of course, you got to allow enough time to get there on time. I was really hoping this thing would come through and be awesome to justify all that nonsense that it took to get there. So I get there, I'm waiting in line. There's always lines, and they got the whole theater set up like Creel's house. And there's this big neon light, Stranger Things. So I'm getting real psyched for this thing. I really just wanted this thing to start. I was getting ants in my pants, which usually I'm fine. But I was like, man, this is such a hassle. This thing better come through. I really thought it was going to be terrible. It wasn't even low expectations. I just thought it was going to suck. So the usher ushered me to the seat, get in, get seated. And I realized since it's the first night of previews, there's a lot of family and friends of the cast. I'm looking at all the seats and they've got hats hanging from each seat. And I'm thinking like, oh, cool. You know, free hat. Nice. At least they did something. A little memento. Which, you know, I'm fine with a hat, whatever. But it is like my most despised hat style. It's called a dad hat with that clippy thing in the back. I mean, I'm sure a ton of you probably wear these. I just personally can't. I just can't wear a hat like this. It's very flimsy. You know, you could see, I like these giant rims, comically large hat rims. And these are just, you could literally fold these up and like put them in your pocket. So that's great, you know, if you like are mowing a lawn or something and you're drinking a cold beer and the sun is beating down and you're sweating and then you want to wipe your brow. Like that's what this kind of hat is used for. Like I have absolutely no use for it. And it just says Broadway upside down. Yeah, it says Broadway upside down. Cute, very cute. It was nice that they give you a little gift. That's another thing. If you're thinking of going to a Broadway show, it's not cheap. The whole ordeal costs astronomical amounts of money, but you just have to expect that because so much goes into it. The people really pouring their heart and soul out on the stage. The actors, you got the lighting people, you've got the producers, the catering. There's just all kinds of stuff. Then you got to pay the theater. Everybody's got to get a cut. I don't know. I've never been in a play myself. Of course, all the world is a stage. I don't know. Everybody in this production was just totally unbelievable. And the kid who played Vecna was, I mean, I could probably look it up. I would need glasses to see. Unreal. What a great actor. I was just totally blown away. I'm jumping ahead. Before we get into that, I get seated. You know, I keep having to get up. Another guy comes down. And so the guy, he's handed me the hat and he's like, oh, is this yours? And I'm like, no, just they're giving them away. They're on the seat. he didn't believe me because at that point, 90% of the people were seated. It's not like everybody was wearing the hat. So he thought I was like giving him a hat. Like, no, I already got one. Thanks. And I had to explain to him that these were freebies. That's not my responsibility to explain the logic of their promotion. Oh my God, this is very frustrating. But I can tell you that when the lights started to dim, everything went dark eventually, and a screen came down, and those red letters started forming into the screen, and the Stranger Things theme song came on. This whole theater went completely bananas. Electricity personified, as something my boy Gorilla Monsoon might have said. Place really went nuts, and I felt it. I was feeling it. It was a very cool feeling to be a part of something live for Stranger Things that a lot of people in that theater had not experienced yet, obviously including myself. So we didn't really know what to expect. And I wasn't super bowled over at the fact that, oh, this is just a Vecna origin story, because I am known to dislike prequels and origins. I would rather post storyline, give me what happens afterwards. But in this case, I didn't know if it was going to be good or not. It turned out it was pretty awesome, and it really tied into Stranger Things in so many ways. At first, you might even say it might be a little preposterous, but when you really think about it, you think back to the show, it all does make sense, because they referenced a ton of these things that you see in this show in the series. So it's not like they're just making it up. I'm sure it's all in canon. It seems like it's official. Like that, you can't get much more official than that. We're getting to that point in the play where it's like, man, this feels a little long. These Broadway shows have an intermission. They're always long. Sometimes they could be like 3 hours, including the intermission. And I am not a proponent of those long ass ordeals, especially after the ordeal it takes me to get there and the ordeal that I know that I'll be facing when I have to leave and go home. It's an ordeal sandwich. But when you think about it, that intermission is built in so they could sell merch and sell snacks and coffee, and then you wait on long ass lines to go to the bathroom, which is always ridiculous. Like, oh, the bathroom is not actually in the building. You got to leave this building and go over to this building outside. I'm fine. I'm not even getting involved. I'm sitting, planted myself in this seat, and I'm going to wait patiently until this thing comes back on so I could GTFO. But when you think about it, all that stuff, for popcorn and selling snacks and all that, it's good extra money for the production or whoever it goes to, which I understand. But that is some antiquated BS. You go to a movie, you're not like having an intermission. We watch a movie and we leave, and that's it. You buy your hundreds of dollars of concessions before the show. But how about don't make the play that long to begin with, so you don't need an intermission? We all have busy lives. We've got shit to do. Got to feed the hog. But then I start thinking back. I'm like, that Harry Potter play, I went to that, the cursed something, whatever, man. That was a lot of time and dedication for a person who is, I would say, whatever less than casual fan is, semi-casual fan, I would say. So yeah, maybe I'll give it a watch. I watched all of them, so I gave it my best shot. It was ridiculously extensive. It was so extensive that the intermission happens. You watch the end of that, and then they say, this next intermission is so long that you've got to come back on a completely different night to finish it. So it could be a multiple day intermission. And that's ridiculous. So imagine that commitment where it was a 2-night show. I think to myself, who is that person that went and dedicated all of that time to doing that nonsense? That is some crazy shit. You would think it was Alexa Bliss in that show. Total debacle. Such a scam. Yeah, we got to charge you a whole other ticket to see the end of the actual original show that you paid for. I mean, movies don't even feel as long. Wolf of Wall Street. We got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'll just name all the Margot Robbie movies. I'm like, wow, this thing is still going. I mean, it's great. It was blowing me away. At first, I was like, man, this was way better than I thought. This is great. They did an amazing job. The effects were crazy. I don't want to spoil anything, but there is a very large, massive Stranger Thing inside of the theater that comes out. You catch my drift? You know what I'm saying? That was awesome. A lot of cool stuff. A lot of the actors are coming down the aisleways. It felt like you're in it. Man, the music, the actors were just really into it, committed. They were enthusiastic. They were feeling their roles. I was very impressed by the whole thing. And I paid for this because I was asked twice today if I got a free ticket. So no, I didn't. And then I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, wow, my watch says 11:15. My train went back at 11:06. So now I got 45 minutes to wait around at the train station like a bump on a log. Then I got to bed after 1 a.m. This is way past my bedtime. It's Stranger Things, the first shadow in New York City. If you could pull it off, think about it, think it over. So that was pretty awesome. I do recommend it, though, if you feel like dedicating an entire day or a minimum of a half a day, a decent chunk of money, but it's an experience. So I would say I wouldn't necessarily be as committed if I wasn't such a fan. If I was a casual fan of Stranger Things, I don't think I would do all this. If you're in it to win it, then I would say go for it. All right, what else? It's already been a week ago that I saw Death of a Unicorn. Man, I am completely in awe of that movie. Loved it. Just phenomenal. I'm already like, oh man, what kinds of merch do they have? The first reaction, you see a movie, what can I buy? What can I add to my collection? And then I go to the A24 site because they do have some cool stuff on there. And here's what they have for Death of a Unicorn. Obviously, if you've seen the movie, and it's not a spoiler, it's the unicorn's horn on the top of the unicorn's head. And it lights up in the middle like it's some kind of, like it's like a lava lamp in the middle. And it's made of glass, full glass. So it's very reminiscent of another household product that some people out there may own. And then I'm thinking, I think it's a little bit too much like that because if people don't know that movie, you're like, oh, this is an interesting artifact that you have in your living room. I was so into that movie, enjoyable. And I get excited when I go to a movie and actually like it. There's been a ton of times over the past few years where I come home and I'm like, I don't know about that one. And it's good when you get that payoff. Like, wow, this really was a lot better than I thought. That movie ruled. I definitely recommend seeing it. And that might be one that you see and you're like, I don't know what this guy's talking about. I just don't get it. That's the beauty of movies. All right, it's time for a taste test. PB&J Grape Reese's Big Cups. Oh, yeah. You probably heard me bitching and complaining that there's not enough grape peanut butter and jelly things. And I would say that there's too much strawberry versions. You know, I would say that. Who got the idea that strawberry was more worthy? It does... of grape. It doesn't smell like, it does not smell like peanut butter and jelly, unfortunately. These big cups, they're insane. Look, this is insanity. Look at this thing. Look at that. It's like a hockey puck. All right, here we go. Oh, man. It's like sticking. Do you hear that? It's like sticking to the, oh. Hell is that? I got it. Here we go. It's time. All right, well, that was only my first bite, but it didn't taste like an overwhelming grape flavor to me. So one more bite, small bite. Well, not bad. It's just not overwhelmingly grape-like to me. So I'm not going to say it's disappointing because it's still, you're still winning because it's a Reese's cup. Can't go wrong with Reese's, anything. But I will say, not enough grape representation. You know what I'm saying? You need to have that ratio. The ratio, Al Ghul, is very important. Ratio Al Ghul. That was always the thing. Is it Roz or Raish? And then it was said many times that it was supposed to be Raish. And I used to think to myself, wow, that kind of sounds weird. And then in the animated series, it said Roz. And at the time, as a kid in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area, if you watched the news, there was a newscaster named Roz Abrams. And I used to think like, Roz, that's not Roz, that's Raish. So, of course, as a kid who watched the news every night during dinner with the fam, Roz, she was part of the fam. We saw her every night. So, of course, I'm going to think Roz. The only Roz I know is Roz Abrams, the woman I get my news from. She's not, the demon's head. Unless there's something I don't know that she does when she goes home. She's like eco-terrorizing the town. I've never heard of such a thing. But anyway. Raish. It's been a fun time. Thanks for hanging out with me here at Sludge Central. This is Jay, signing off.